Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody, depending on where in the world you are. Let me get this set up real
We're
quick.
here to answer your SEO questions live. And I think we're, getting better at our skills in front of the camera, If I look at some of the earlier stuff, I think we're more comfortable now.
Definitely more comfortable.
Yeah.
I still don't think we've really mastered the
Fuck
art
no,
of
dude. I don't know if we ever will, honestly. I guess we'll get better as we keep doing it, but
one
it's
thing I
still...
really want to memorize is like our outro.
Mm,
Like, comment, subscribe.
yeah. Make it real clean,
Yeah,
crisp. You have
yeah.
to work, that's the thing about acting or whatever you want to call this, like being a personality is like, you have to want to work and practice at it. And yeah, you know, I don't want to sit in front of the mirror going, ah, ooh, oh, ah,
I don't
oh,
know. I think some people are just good at it.
for
Or
sure.
maybe they spend more time trying to perfect it or something. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't either.
But yeah, it takes work.
It does take
Maybe
work.
we'll just never really be that polished. And
That's fine
that's its
too.
own thing
It
though.
is. Yeah, I feel like Joe Rogan's more like that, right? Those
Yeah.
episodes are more just let's hang out and talk, and we're not really worried about whether
Yeah, it's more of like the new
we
age
sound.
of
Yeah.
like online media.
This is more trustworthy, I would say. If I see something that
Yeah.
looks really doctored and polished, I'm going to be like, well, that was rehearsed. And, the point of this show is, I guess, to be completely unrehearsed and,
For sure.
kind of be put on the spot.
But yeah,
So,
that's like, you kind of see the same thing happening in, it's in media, in politics, in all online content, really. People are like, they're basically tired of like the over polished, over practiced, like fake crap.
for sure.
And so
That's such a boomer plus thing.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
really looking for the more, actually kind of unrehearsed, maybe a
Authentic.
little rough around the edges or whatever, but it just feels more real. Um, what was I
Yeah.
gonna say? You could even like apply it to like your content and stuff if you wanted to.
Yeah, I would think so.
Just not being like too formulaic or I mean, actually, being formulaic is good, but I guess you can't like come off as just over practiced or something like too stale. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. How about this weather? It's cold. It's supposed to be 110 degrees a day in Texas, and here we are wearing beanies and shit. I don't support that. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't like it.
Um, it, yeah, I don't know what it is in Celsius, but it's like 45 today
Yeah,
Fahrenheit,
it's cold.
and then like 2 days from now it's gonna be 90
Yeah,
again.
and I can't wait for the 90s. Yeah, I don't. Cold doesn't do well for me.
It's nice for running though. I like to
Yeah.
go running, so yeah.
All right.
All right, yeah,
Let's answer
looks like we
some
got some questions
questions.
rolling in. Like always, guys, if you got a question, just drop it in the chat. If you have a question about your site and you want us to actually look at it but not show it,
PM it.
yeah, send us a PM. Don't display your site publicly, even though I don't think it'll be that big of a problem, but we don't want to put your site on blast. All right, let's go ahead and start. Got a Shopify site for first time as an ecom SEO project for PPE. Have succeeded over 20 WordPress projects. Any advice on the Shopify platform I should watch out for? I'm not going to be much help on this. I really haven't used Shopify too much enough to give great advice on it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any issues with it. Things to maybe watch out for is it'll create like a, product section in a specific shop. So watch your permalink structure, I guess. Still modify that to resemble whatever you want it to rank for in the SERPs.
That's true. I feel like I always see a lot of really sloppy URL
Yeah, you'll see
structures.
sloppy automatically done URL structure on some e-com sites. And
That's probably
so,
like my biggest gripe with any e-com site I see
yeah,
is
but
the URLs. Like,
it's
what
like
the?
it doesn't have to be that way. So I don't know if it's just lack of knowledge or whatever. But I use on my biggest affiliate site right now, which does some e-commerce as well. We use Shopify, and yeah, it's just whatever the URL is, /product, whatever the product is. So I haven't had any issues. And that site operates like a review site, informational site, as well as pushes people towards products we sell, and then does affiliate commissions as well. So, it's a big mix of everything you'd see somebody ranking a website for, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever. So, if you've already ranked 20 sites and had good success with it, my guess is if you're doing ecom and you've really done your keyword research, you should be up in your profits with this one. So, yeah, move forward, man. Congrats. Cool.
All right, let's go.
Ooh, weird question, huh?
Kim.
What up,
I
Kim?
want to make sure it's not too weird.
It should be fine.
Okay, no, I
Kim's
just want
been
to make sure
around
it was
a
like
long
SEO.
time.
All right. LOL, got a weird question. For those with poor imagination, you got any tips for how to articulate the backlinks profile with branded links? And will branded links only go to homepage or mixing into inner pages with keyword plus brand? In the past, I have often just used the same branded plus keyword links. Maybe over time it will become a pattern as well. So as far as like branded plus keyword links, I do that sometimes as well as kind of like yeah, just a way to like kind of do kind of like a mix of like natural and a little bit more aggressive linking. Not sure I understand your question though. How to articulate the backlinks profile.
Well, let's start with, I guess, the first one, right? Articulate. Well, I'm
I'm
not
not
sure
sure.
I understand the
Yeah.
first one. The second one, though, only go to homepage. No, you can mix branded links. Branded links can go to any inner page, help diversify your anchor text profile. You can do keyword plus brand. So, like hypothetical, we're SER Links a lot. SER Links a lot SEO products is probably an anchor you might have seen. We don't manipulate the backlinks to that site, so all natural. So I don't know. But yeah, so that is a technique, and it does stand to produce good results.
Yeah, so as
Yeah.
far, I'm not sure if I understand your first part about how to articulate the backlinks profile. Maybe it was a typo or something. If you want to clarify that, Kim. But yeah, as far as like branded links going to the homepage, I think that's a different
Yeah,
question.
I think so.
But yeah, as far as branded links going to the homepage, I will say that most of the branded links I make, I do send to the homepage. But yeah, you can also do the inner page branded links as well, and you probably should do some. Um, just I don't go as heavy on the branded links on inner pages, but it's still definitely something you're gonna want to do. Because yeah, like even like your inner pages, you want, your anchor profile for each inner page needs to be diversified, right? So you don't want it to be like all just like keyword type stuff. So, throw in some, just like you would to the site overall and to the homepage, throw in some branded, some URL and some generic anchors to your inner pages as well. Yeah, not seeing you
And then just in
clarify.
case, because I'm seeing a lot of branded and keyword links, but always diversify with random anchors as well. Website, click here, all those random things, and then plenty of long tails as well. The same as we talk about diversification of your backlinks profile, we're talking about anchor text profile as well. So, you'll want to do more than just branded and money anchors.
All right, let's see the next one. Before I answer, I want to see if we've got a video for it.
Yeah, should see the type of stuff Chris watches on YouTube while he's at work. Very inappropriate.
Internal. Here. All right. So the question is, how do you structure internal links? Do you plan for it before you start publishing, or do you add internal links as you go? So we've actually got a video, and I'll go ahead and drop it in Facebook for you. And I'll drop it on the YouTube stream as well. But yeah, so basically, I mean, it's always better to like plan first,
All right,
right?
so
Oops. If you if you plan first, you can just end up making things a lot easier for yourself. But that doesn't always work out like that all the time.
Yeah.
What I would generally, so in the video that that I posted for you, pretty sure I probably draw on paint. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, basically what we do is, you want to have your home page. Make sure. Yeah, here we go. You want to have your home page, and then you want to have like basically some hub pages. These can be big like category pages, or just basically just different sections of your site, right? What?
I was just playing with my face and sorry.
Okay. Yeah, and then basically when you have you have a hub page, right? So you want to link from your home page to the hub page. You want to link from your hub page to the home page, and then all the content that's in the hub, you basically want to interlink these things together too, right? And then back to the hub page, and of course from the hub page to the sub content of that hub page.
I'm wearing the same sweater.
I'm wearing a different shirt. That's cool. I feel like I always wear black shirts, but I guess not. But yeah, I mean that's we don't really do any like big like magic tricks or anything like special as far as interlinking goes, right? I feel like you don't even, I would say that doing it like this is probably best practice, but at the end of the day, if you just link to your other content naturally in a way that makes sense, right? So if you have an article talking about backlinks and you mention guest posts, then link to your guest post page, right? It just makes sense to do because
having said that, though, it's not a must. Like you can inject, interlinks on random stuff too.
Yeah.
The main thing with this that I think I'd want to touch on is just keep it organized. So basically, you can pull up an Excel sheet, right? Keep a list of all your pages that exist. Personally, I don't take it too crazy. When I put up a new page or when a new page goes up, I find X amount of internal links that I want to link to and X amount that I want to get links from, right? And then I catalog it all in Excel so that I know that, or something similar to Excel, so that I know exactly how many internal and outbound links are going from each page. But very simple, and that helps, put a picture together. But yeah, no need to fret too much about that, just so long as you're getting it done.
Yeah, and yeah, like Nick said, keep track of stuff. One thing you want to keep track of is your internal link anchor text. I don't know if you talked about that.
No.
Yeah, so just like with your internal link or your external links, how you diversify the anchor text that you're using, you have keyword anchors, and then you have the natural stuff, like URL anchors, generic anchors, branded anchors. You want to basically do the same kind of thing with your inner links anchor text. So so say our guest post page, maybe half the inner links to that page say guest posts, maybe some of them say here, or just maybe even got like a URL. I don't really do URL links in there.
No, I mean you could, but no, I don't either.
I basically just like, you switch it up, just don't keep just hammering the same exact thing over and over and over. You might have one that's like your most used one or whatever, but
yeah, and for internal linking, I feel like it makes more sense to use more variations of money anchors, right? Because you're not going to use an inner page branded URL like, hey, head over to Sir Links a Lot, and it goes to a guest post page. Like, it doesn't say anything about. So you can be more aggressive about what this page is supposed to be about, right?
Yeah.
So variations work really well with internal links.
Let me walk that back a little bit. I pretty much use like, money anchors, money variations, or kind of something more like topical, which is like almost borderline to generic, but just kind of like topically generic, and then generic, like click here, this article, stuff like that. I don't think I ever use branded or URL.
No, I mean it doesn't make much sense really.
I think that's so you definitely want to keep track of that. But
it's not heavy tracking, right? Like, I don't think too much about it. I don't plan ahead with it. I literally have a list that I work off of. The new post goes up. I find X amount that I want a link coming to it from, and then I find X amount that I think fit within.
Best practice would be to keep track of it.
Yes.
Especially if
you don't, then, I mean, in the end, you'll end up wishing you had. What I've come to find with SEO is it's better to keep as much data as possible versus just leaving it out, because at some point in time it's interesting to go through that stuff and be able to actually analyze what you've done, and auditing things like that is not fun.
So best practice for all the stuff we've been talking about as far as your internal links and your internal link anchors and all that stuff, best practice would be to actually map it out, in picture format, if that helps you. Keep track of where all the links are going, keep track of all the anchors, how many times you've used them, stuff like that. Especially if you're working on big client sites, that is the best practice. We just we don't really we work with client sites, but we build links, right? So we're not really doing all the internal stuff, so it's not really something I've done too much of as far as working with this stuff on client sites for some time now. When's the last time you did the internal links for a client site?
Well, I mean, I haven't worked on any client sites, but I have a lot of my own sites that I do, but I don't really usually it's just setting them up and then letting somebody else handle it that I've taught.
Anyway, best practice. I'm gonna cut it off there. Sorry for ranting too much about that. Sorry.
Hey, Rafi.
All right, MH.
Rafi.
Is that your first? Is the first name MH or Rafi?
Oh, I don't know. I've known him for a long time.
Rafi, if you're still here, I've always wondered what your actual first name is. So let us know your first name if you're still watching.
If he wants to.
If you want to. All right. Do you build links from resource or helpful pages? If you do, how?
Sure.
This is a common form of outreach, right? Just instead of reaching out to some random site who you're not sure if they will allow guest posts or not or whatever, you're reaching out to them, and they you found a resource page that you want to be listed on or get a link from, and first of all, you need to you need to have content that would be good for their resource page. It needs to make sense for them to want to list you on their resource page. And then you just reach out to them and keep things, when you're talking to them, keep things framed and how it will benefit them, rather than why it's I need a link on your resource page. No one cares what you need, right? Just tell them about your content, tell them why it's going to be awesome for the resource page, why their users or readers are going to like it, and be polite and stuff. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, overall, I don't see any harm in being on resource or help pages if you can get on there. And like Chris said, it's a type of outreach if you want to figure out how to get posts on there on specific websites. What I would say is try not to be exclusive about trying to get on resource and help pages. So diversify the type of pages your website's getting links from.
A lot of these pages, like a lot of the ones that you'll end up
I'm
being
picturing
able to get
spammed
added
out.
to, they get spammed out. But it's not that they
It's
even
not a
want to
bad
spam.
thing.
It's just some
like
it's just some
it's
guy
not a
who's
very great link, but it's not going to hurt typically.
the people that are like you're adding links to their page. The people who run these sites, they're not like these like SEO masterminds or whatever. They're like, oh, that's helpful.
Neat.
Like that will
that'll
help
work
my
right there. And
so then they'll have like 100,
extent,
they got like 100 things listed or whatever, so it might
you-
not be the best link.
You can conceptualize that too as like a kind of powered up directory style link, though, right? Depending on the website you're getting it on. So yeah, I mean it's it's advantageous to get it.
Yeah, like every other kind of link, even if you're only getting on resource pages that all have like 100 outbound links on them, that's still fine and it'll probably still benefit you. You just don't get like don't let them make up the majority of your backlink profile, right? I've seen a couple sites where I feel like, the resource pages is something that's popular with people who are trying not to spend money.
Yeah.
They're of course, you can't judge, everyone, you start where you start. If you have money for the project, you have it. If you don't, you don't. You got to work with what you're given or whatever. I just feel like some people, they just end up building a lot of these kind of links and I don't know. I feel like a lot of times it's
just get lost in like, using those. Because a lot of times you'll see people that find something like that. It helps, maybe get an affiliate site to where it's making like a little bit of income even. But then when they get their decline, it's typically because they haven't worked on diversification, right? So if you are somebody who's like starting from the bottom where you're getting every link on your own and it has to be free, when you start making income from that site, roll it back into the site, making it better, diversifying in some way, shape, or form. Don't go off and buy, a new set of shoes or some shit like that. Literally put it back in because rolling SEO is a lot easier with a bankroll. It's just the nature of the game. And if, your intention is to have longevity as an SEO in this industry, then you'll want to be serious about, rolling money back into your assets so that they produce more income for you in the future. I see a lot of people that, it's like, oh, I'm making some money, for the first time with this new affiliate site or whatever I'm working on. And then they blow those profits on things that aren't going to help them generate more revenue. If you're starting ground up, that's a very important thing to pay attention to.
So, resource pages are cool, just reach out, whatever. But yeah, still focus on getting like, normal contextual, kind of like guest post or like editorial type links or niche edits or whatever, just contextual links where your links in like a paragraph of just normal information about the topic, not just a huge list of links. Hopefully that helps. All right. How do you check keyword cannibalization? Oh my God, say that 10 times fast. Keyword cannibalization, keyword cannibalization, keyword cannibalization, keyword cannibalization, okay, 10 times is too.
It's too many times.
I have one or two semi ways to do it, but everyone got their own way of doing it. It would be cool to see your way. I think we've answered this one before. Nick, how do you check keyword cannibalization while I look for this video?
I think what we answered in that video you're going to be looking for is that it just doesn't happen. But let's say we're auditing, right? Because we're going to base our URL structure off what we've built off, on our money sites before. So, best practice is just to actually go in, inspect the SERPs, individual SERPs that might be related. You can get a good indicator of relatable SERPs by using something like my favorite is Surfer SEO. In Surfer SEO, you can do keyword research that will show you any SERPs that have percentage overlaps. So if like one website is showing up for top 3 on these 5 pages, you can have a good indicator that, that's the umbrella term. So if you've got, let's say I'm auditing a site and there's 2 pages going after a similar term, like maybe one is the parent topic and then one is what are they? But if I manually check the SERPs and everything that's showing up is an article that's got those 2 sections together, I'm going to realize that, there's a keyword cannibalization issue, and then you can either, put them together or eliminate one in order to stop confusion with Google bots, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if you talked about SE ranking.
No. Mm-mm.
So, yeah, keyword cannibalization is not something I really worry about too much because as far like we were talking about earlier, the only sites I'm really working on like the internals of are basically our own projects. But yeah, I mean, so I basically like know what all my keywords are and what pages I'm targeting with them already. But if there is keyword cannibalization, the way that I would see it is in SE ranking, which is a rank tracker that I use. I don't necessarily know if it's the best one or anything. It's just the one that we use for whatever reason. It seems good. It's got a lot of stuff on it.
They just released some new stuff that I barely dove into the other day, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I feel like we're underutilizing it as a tool, actually.
I guess I won't log in.
Yeah,
but, yeah, it's Etsy ranking.
And then show them Surfer too, just in case, because I mentioned that.
Let's see how much it costs. I don't even know how much we pay for it.
Me either.
I think we do this one, or maybe we do the big one. I don't really know.
No, we're not tracking. Well, actually, I don't know. Either way, yeah, one of those. And then I think you can do everything in between
keywords.
too.
Okay. Yeah. We might use the big one anyway. But yeah, so SE ranking is a rank tracker. It actually does a lot more stuff. And like Nick was saying, we do underutilize it. There's probably like a bunch of like useful stuff in there that it's got like so much, and I just like skip to the parts that I know how to use.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's the funny thing with all these tools. It's like they do so many things, but you kind of niche down what you use each tool for, and then you've kind of just focused yourself into your framework of how you do SEO, I guess.
But yeah, so like I'm not going to log in and pull up our keywords, but when you log in, you go to whatever site that you're looking at, and then you have your keywords that you're tracking that you've entered manually. It'll show like a little link button, and if you hover over it, it'll show you what URL is ranking for that keyword. Yeah. And if there's more than one URL that ranks for that keyword, it'll have a little number by it with the number of different URLs. And then when you hover it, it'll show each URL that's ranking for that keyword. So, if I just go and if I'm monitoring my keywords, going and checking up on them, then if I see any of those numbers, I'll go ahead and check that out. But yeah, I mean, so if you're working on a client site, of course, this might be something that's you're going to need to worry about a little bit more. But as far as the sites that I work on that are, my own projects, I don't really have too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on keyword research, right, at its root. So from a framework standpoint, if you're doing your keyword research properly, you're manually checking the SERPs, which I believe we show examples of in the other video we did, right? Did you find that video by chance?
The keyword cannibalization? Yeah, I linked both of them.
Yeah, so it should be in there. I think we manually went through SERPs and showed you how you would track that. And then, of course, again, Surfer SEO's got a great tool for it as well to show overlap of SERPs.
On your own site?
Well, you would just pull up the keyword research tool.
Surfer's like another thing that has so much to it that I just skip over.
I feel like no, we use this though. It's the overlap tool, right? Where it shows that 70% of people ranking for this SERP are also showing up for this keyword, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got 2 or 3 articles that are competing for SERPs that show percentage overlap, like hefty percentage overlap, you're probably going to want to condense those into one article, and you'll have a better opportunity to rank for those SERPs because they are relatable. Hopefully that makes sense.
Hopefully that helps. There's probably a way to like check it, or maybe I wonder if there's a way to check it with like Screaming Frog or something. Maybe
I
not.
almost never use Screaming Frog. I mean, like last time I probably used it or tried to use it was like 3-4 years ago.
All right, next question. When do you start audit the website? If you start working on a website from scratch, and what tools do you use for auditing the website?
Well,
I mean, I constantly audit it. Really, just I mean, I mainly use Ahrefs.
yeah, Ahrefs is going to be our number one go-to, right? Like you can quickly analyze a very broad picture. It's going to be the best one as far as that style tracker goes, as far as data, in my opinion, over Majestic, SEMrush, or any of those. So it's the tool that I would say we always have on hand to inspect our own sites or inspect client sites. And then based on the data that we look into there, so, we've done it in other videos too, where we start maybe with the overview, the overall health of the site, then we may check anchors, whether they're diversified, what kind of information is in there, and then maybe backlinks, right? And you can dig in as far as you want using Ahrefs, and then to further that
also says
data.
it's a fresh website.
Well, I think they're talking about, so if it's a fresh site, but then you've been doing it, like how long before you audit? But like you said, we're always auditing, right? Like you always want to know what your site's doing. But at the same time, you don't just use something like Ahrefs to audit, right? What's better than Ahrefs? Having Google Analytics set up, right? Or Yandex set up if you don't want to deal with Google. You're going to get a lot of actual data based on who's accessing the site, what pages they're going to, etc. And you can optimize based on any number of these variables. Like, for example, I've got a site that I got up to a load of traffic recently, but it wasn't converting very well. And so recently I spent a couple of days going back in and kind of analyzing, how I might be able to up profits from those pages because they have the most traffic going to them. And so I just optimized based on new products that were pertainable to that specific SERP, right? And sure enough, profits are up this month. So it's like you're always going in, you're always exploring new opportunity, but Ahrefs, Google Analytics, SEMrush, Majestic.
So yeah, just pick like one of the big backlink tools.
Yeah, sure.
So, it's either Ahrefs, Majestic, or
SEMrush, yeah,
Moz.
probably. Yeah, Moz.
But I mean,
sure.
we use Ahrefs. It's not a question really.
Yeah.
And then analytics and Search Console.
And then maybe like a specific rank tracker like SE ranking so that you've got very
I would say that one's
hardline data.
Like that one's awesome, but as far as like the bare necessities go, you're on a desert island. You've only got
well, but
you've only got $5.
But the thing is, you've got so much variance on what Ahrefs says you rank for than what you actually rank for on a daily basis that I think it's worthwhile. Like, okay,
I think a lot of rank trackers might even do like free up until like 100 keywords or something.
Yeah, so any rank tracker, right? You might be able to find some free ones that'll work just fine for you. From auditing, I would say there, but if you want to get a little more technical with your auditing, maybe you're an on-page white hat nerd, then Surfer SEO, baby. I love that tool. That's a nasty tool in a good way, right?
But yeah, I mean, as far you're starting from scratch, you just want to keep an eye on the stuff. Get comfortable with Search Console, get comfortable with Google Analytics, but also remember that when you're building a site from scratch, things are going to move like real sluggishly, right? It's not going to be for a while until you've really started to add a bunch of backlinks to the site and it's been around for a while that things start to react a little bit more quickly. In the beginning, it's going to be super sluggish. So, as far as like, are you using those tools to really analyze or audit in the beginning? Not really.
Yeah.
You're just moving forward with the steps that you need to take to get things moving, right?
Which are what?
Um, I mean,
Content
yeah,
and
getting your
maybe
content,
linking,
of course, like
etc. Yeah.
optimized well with your on page, and you've done proper keyword research, and then slowly starting to build up your link profile, the nice foundation of diversified backlinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wouldn't really start really auditing stuff using those tools probably for. I mean, you don't really need to look at it. You might want to look at like Search Console and make sure there's no
I just want to.
weird technical problems or something. But
I guess something like we kind of glossed over is like, when would you look into an audit, right? If it's a brand new site, you've been working on it for 6 months, you've added 100 new articles, they seem well written, etc. On pages on point. Maybe you've done some pillow linking and you haven't gotten anywhere, like there's no movement in the SERPs, then there's probably something going wrong, right? After 6 months. If it's pre 6 months, then I would say keep doing what you're doing. 6 months would still be a long period of time, but just talking about for safety's sake, before, what I'll come to find a lot of people want to audit is something that is not auditable, basically, right? So it's like, oh, I've got this site, I've been working on it 2 months, and I'm working really hard and I'm doing everything right. So then I audit the site and it's like, it's got 10 pages, it's got 2 backlinks, and you haven't been doing shit other than the first week you bought it. So it's like, got no momentum. What do you want it to do, right? So there's no need for a real audit. The audit is...
That's a common.
Keep working
I
on
feel like
it.
this is a very common thing because people don't understand.
It's so common.
They don't understand yet. Like, why is it not showing up?
And when I first started,
why am I not ranking for my keywords?
I lost my hair about that a lot because it took me probably a little over a year to get my first actual ranking. Because I picked the wrong niche, too competitive, picked the wrong, schools of thought, etc., and it was a long, arduous journey. But
how about this? When would you audit and start looking for problems? So you started a fresh site. How many months would you give it?
I'm a normal, bare bones, white hat SEO.
Let me finish the question though.
Go ahead.
So, you started a site from scratch. Yeah, you're a normal SEO. Mm-hmm. You're not super advanced.
Mm-mm.
And
in Google Analytics.
Let's say, you've been building a couple links or whatever, and, you've been doing your on page, you've been putting up new content, regularly. How many months would you let go by before you really start to look into things and start to get kind of like worried? Like, why are things not moving?
All right, I'll paint the picture. So basically, I'm that person, right? I'm in Google Analytics. I don't even know what Ahrefs is or any audit tools, but I do know I have Google Analytics set up on this website, and I'm actively working on this website. I've gotten it in a position within 3 to 4 months, right, where I've noticed, wow, hey, traffic is coming to my site. I've got hardline data, where they're going, what they're doing, etc. But then a month or two later, all of a sudden, boom, there's a drop-off. And then that continues, and it seems like there's a steady decline over a month or two. And a lot of this is going to depend on how often you work on the site, what kind of, maneuvers you're taking with the site as far as building content, maybe backlinks, etc. And so if I've gotten to a position where I had traffic and then I started to lose it, then that's a good time to audit. And if I don't know how to audit, we've done a ton of videos, and there's other people doing videos as well on how to audit sites. Or you can even just bring it to us here, and typically we'll do it. Or hire somebody to audit your site, do a deep dive into it using tools that maybe you don't know how to use, right? If you don't have the time, but you do have the money. So at that point, it's a trade-off. But basically, if you've seen success and then success starts to dwindle, it might be time for an audit. But before you hire somebody to... Hold on. Before you hire somebody to audit, what do you want to make sure you're doing? SEO, adding content, working on the site, changing things up. It's alive. It's a, moving vessel. Because otherwise you've just created something that's stagnant, and it makes sense that it would decline because it's lost, buzz over time, and that's something that's, trackable and traceable. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when he talks about losing traffic, we're not talking about you got 10 traffic and now you got 5.
Yeah, typically not. Yeah.
We're talking like
about
you
momentum,
built
right?
up like actual like a good amount of traffic and keywords, and then maybe I don't know. It's going to really depend on your site and what you're going for, but not just a small amount, because in the beginning you're going to you might get like 5 traffic, it might go back down to 0. Your keyword's going to be popping in and out. Did you talk about like, so what if they're building links and they're adding content and stuff, and then it's been like 3 months and they're like the site hasn't really added any keywords or anything
Yeah,
yet? How long would you give it
I
before
did
you
say
kinda...
that, but it's really dependent on how much content you're adding to the
and how
site
many
and what
links
you're
you're adding
doing.
too?
Yeah, whether it's safe.
If you've added like 5 backlinks and your site's been around for 3 months, like it really might not start to pop at all.
A lot of times you'll see it's like, I got this 5-page site. I bought the finest PBN links and nothing is happening. Yeah, well, that's a very simple audit.
Or I've got 10 articles.
Watch our videos.
I bought 2 high authority guest posts.
Yeah. Why am I not number 1?
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of auditing too is going to be based on, the level of SEO you are, I guess. How capable you are. If I've got a website that I start from scratch, if within 2 months I'm not getting any kind of movement, 2 or maybe 3 months tops, I'm not getting any kind of movement. I'm not talking about jumping to competitive terms, but if I'm not getting any movement, then I know something is severely wrong. Now that doesn't happen, let me tell you, but if it did, it would be audit time. But, the cool thing about audits is the more you audit websites, it's about exploration. It's about diving in and learning the things that make something work, right? Make data work for you. The more you audit, so you should just get in the habit of taking a tool, auditing different websites, and just going through what's going on, and then coming up with hypotheses on why these things are happening. As you do that, you're going to become a better SEO.
And I'll just say this too, you're in our group. If you think something's wrong with your site, you got a fresh site and you've been working on it for a while, send us a message and be like, is there something wrong, or should I just keep going? And we'll let you know. We'll be able to look at it and give you an answer after like 5 seconds. So we'll just look at how many links you've added, how much content you have, and
5 seconds.
How long you've been
That's
working.
That's a guarantee.
It's just
5 seconds or less. SEO, ours is the best.
If we pop in there and they've got like 100 RD and a good
for
amount of content,
sure.
and it's not pulling up any keywords, it's like, what? Okay, something's going on
here. If
here.
you've been auditing sites for as long as we have, it's literally like, yeah, sure, I'll pull it up. And then, you can deep dive, right? And you can come up with like different levels of audit, but at a glance, usually like within 5 minutes, I think we can tell basically what's,
I'm not saying we'll audit your site. I'm not saying we'll audit your site.
Yeah, we still got to come up with
we'll tell you if it should be audited.
Yeah, right? Plus, since we've been doing these shows, guys and gals, and sorry if I've, me or Chris have ignored maybe an IM or an email or something, but it's like, we can't keep doing free work outside of here. Like, I've got a lot of people that are like, I don't want to be on the show, but will you please audit my site? And I've tried to accommodate as best I can, but legitimately, I've spent years doing that, and I've never been somebody who would advocate not helping people out. It's just that at this point in time, we've gotten a bit too busy. So these videos and helping out here is part of the automation of just helping this entire society, right? And so if you appreciate that, then invite your friends, family, bring everybody along, and we'll try and help as best as we can. We don't ever intend to not be an informational kind of business as well. Like, we're not monetizing that side necessarily, but backlinks is our game, and giving out free SEO education is just something we think is right.
All right, let's move on. I'm afraid we're not gonna be able to get to all the questions today.
We got a lot today, yeah.
All right, so where's the thing? Here we go. This isn't a question, but I'm going to put it up here because it makes me feel good. This is from Joseph. Says, your tips do work. Today, I don't have a question.
Wow, all right, Joseph,
Yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah, congrats, Joseph, on your site starting to come back to life.
Hell yeah.
Let us know the kind of progress you've made. I can't remember the URL. I guess I probably got it in my messages. I could pull it up myself. But yeah, good to know that that your site's coming back to life. Probably
Yeah, he said it was last
probably
time
a little
talking.
bit of a huge feeling of relief, right? It's like when Nick invests in a stock and then it goes in the red for 2 weeks straight.
That's how I do
And he
it.
loses all his money and he decides,
Always,
I'm not gonna sell. I'm
always
diamond
buy in
hands. I'm
top.
diamond hands, and then he
Always buy in
holds and it
top.
comes back.
No, it never comes back.
Unlike websites for the most part, you can get them to come back unless
Yeah.
they're like really.
This is true story. I've never found a website that, well, that's not true story. It's extremely rare that I've ever found a site that would not be redeemable in some way. The only things that I'm thinking about are sites that people have spammed out and then tossed to auction, with like a million shitty backlinks. Probably not redeemable. I mean, you probably could over time, but wouldn't be worth the headache.
All right.
Everything's fixable.
Is it important to link to homepage even if it's a brand domain with no keywords in the domain? Yes.
Yeah.
You always want to link to your homepage.
It's just best practice.
We've probably got videos out. I'm not going to pull it up for this one. But yes, linking to your homepage is extremely important. It's probably your most important page that you want to be linking to. It's very important you link to your homepage, especially with a bunch of natural anchors, URL anchors, generic anchors, branded anchors. This is what natural sites have, so this is what you should have too. If you don't do this, the chances of you getting popped and getting a penalty are much higher. Or you might just lose all your rankings one day. You might work for a while and then it doesn't the next day. Or it might work for years, who knows? But it
Best
happens
practice,
all the
yeah.
time, So it's, we especially in the beginning, you're pretty much linking exclusively to your homepage. I guess if you want to talk about this for a second, I'll go ahead and find a video.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's basically it. I mean, like, the only time I'm thinking, right, so, like, when I've seen natural progression of links, like white hat progression of links due to something going viral, I've seen it to a small site that had a popular inner page that got a huge influx of links. And, that's carried it substantially over time. But, that's common based on something going viral, which is a very hard thing to mimic if you're talking about purchasing links or purchasing press, right? Because it's hard to emulate that kind of diversification in such a short amount of time. So, what's most natural is a website to get mainly links to the homepage, is, it's talking about the brand or the building of something or where you can find something, etc. And overall, I would say for my practices, I always build heavier to the homepage based on wanting to develop the overall authority of my assets safely, and then, use less interlinking to get what I want done more efficiently and cost effectively.
So yeah, I've linked a couple videos in the comments. Hopefully those help you out. But yes, homepage is extremely important to link to for every kind of site.
Mm-hmm.
You want the majority of your links going to your homepage, and the way that we build links. So that's the advice that I'm going to give, is that you have the majority of your links going to your homepage.
Like, picture this, right? Reebok.com, right? Here, let's just pull it up real quick, just for, well, yeah, just pull it up real quick. Because I just want to point out, like, the obvious for somebody who's maybe not that well versed in going through sites, but, like, pull up any major shoe. Yeah. I knew Chris wouldn't put in Reebok. Yeah.
Nike!
Yeah, to do something else.
Just do it.
Yeah, do something else. All right, show him. Just the overview.
Just letting it pull up.
It's slow today.
It's loading. Such a big site. It takes a minute. Probably could have done a bit of a smaller site than Nike.
I didn't realize it was going to take this long to pull up. I think it's more just because Ahrefs is running slow. Or maybe we're using a lot of... well, we got Fiverr.
No, it's just these big sites. That's another brand. Not
Well,
like super big.
Tom's maybe or something like that. Tom's shoes.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, it's wasting time. So basically, if you take any major brand, take 10 major brands you're familiar with and throw them into Ahrefs, right, or something comparable, and look at what they're doing. What you're going to find is that predominantly a majority of the links go to the home page. You can find that by clicking on Pages, Best By, Links, right? And then you'll be able to see what anchors they have that they're using too predominantly. And so by going over normal business sites, very large business sites, you'll be able to get some data on what looks most natural. That was the point.
Yeah, we're not giving you advice like for no reason. The advice we're giving you is based on like real world, right?
Right.
So go look at a site. You're going to see the majority of its links of any like normal site are going to the homepage. All right. Maybe overlapping with some other question here, but do you ever link from affiliate page to an information page or only information page to affiliate page?
Yeah, so typically I'll do information page to affiliate page. It's not typical at all that I'm going to do affiliate page to informational page unless there's some reason that I would be able to monetize that informational page, right? The purpose of your money site is to do what? Make you money. So if the informational pages are set up to funnel people towards products or something they can purchase, then the intention should be to keep it that way, right? Why would you want to move people backwards? The idea is to create funnels that move forward towards a sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a money page, I'd probably just link to maybe like a category page or something.
Yeah, right.
I
Like
wouldn't,
parent topic or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't so much be sending them to informational content. They're at a different part of the funnel, right? I think we have some more questions on YouTube. Yaniv, hey Yaniv. Hey guys, I never hear you guys discuss click-through rate manipulation. What are your thoughts on it, and have you tested it? You don't hear us talk about it because it's not something we concentrate on.
Yeah. I haven't used bot traffic in years, and when I did use it, I was probably not doing it properly because I was newer to all these things, and I didn't have good success with it, and I just stopped. I feel like it makes data muddy is the main reason that I'm not that interested in it, right? Because if I'm messing with CTR, then I'm not going to get good analytics on what's actually happening with the asset that I'm looking at, right? So it's not something that I would prefer to use. And honestly, like even thinking about maybe looking into it, some just doesn't seem that appealing to me right now.
What Nick said about it muddying your analytics, right? So the goal of SEO is for your site to first to rank in the search engine, and then to get basically want to get good traffic from that, right? And so if you're using click-through rate to manipulate your rankings, that data is going to be completely skewed. You're not going to really know how real people feel about your site. And And yeah, it might work. Like, it could work a little bit to help your rankings out, but it's again, it's not something I've really ever seen like a huge benefit from. I have messed around with it a little bit in the past, but it's just not.
And I feel like any public like bot network
They might have
created
got
for
better at
SEO,
it, but
man,
generally they're real.
I don't know, because IP addresses are really hard
Generally,
to
it's
get.
really cheap
It's
and it's really
expensive.
crappy, right? They're just like, they have like yeah, either bot traffic or you're in some, you
Well,
know,
if it's a click farm type scenario,
yeah.
then you would have, all the same IP basically, or like same geographic region, which might not be bad, but overall, like, even just us talking about it, it's like it's a spammy tactic, but yeah, I think maybe people with private bot
So,
networks that are, badass enough to track all of that and actually, manage different IPs, etc. Maybe those people, but I would think that's like such a specialized level of SEO manipulation that there's not too many people talking about it if it works proper.
yeah. Yeah, so I would advise you just like stick to the fundamentals and manipulate elsewhere. Manipulate your content in a natural way, in a good way, right? Manipulate your backlinks in a good way. I wouldn't really mess around with bot traffic. Just my advice. I would concentrate on the core. Where am I going? Yeah, no.
Got a couple more.
My site has 1,500 links with 95. I think we answered. Well, okay. My site has 1,500 links with 95% generic anchors. How can I ever get that down to a reasonable percentage without needing boatloads of links to balance out the anchor text with brand URL, etc.? Yeah, so the way you would balance that out is with cheaper links. I'll just pull this up real quick. The page that we pull up every single live stream. I'm sure you guys are not tired of seeing this page. So yeah, here's our niche edits. And if you scroll down, you can see right here, we've got our barrage level niche edits, and they're at the bottom, but these are actually the cheapest, lowest authority niche edits that we have. So you can scroll down here, and they're basically about 20 bucks a pop, to get cheaper depending on how many you buy. Yeah, links like this are good for diversifying. I'm guessing if you have 1,500 links, I mean, I don't want to speculate too much, but I would guess most of them are kind of low quality, unless it's a client site that's been around for a while. But 1,500 links with 95% generic anchors just like screams to me heavily manipulated backlink profile. I'm guessing you've probably done something automated or like cheap like blog comments on like Fiverr or something like that. A bunch of them. I'm not really sure what you're doing to with that many generic anchors. But yeah, I mean,
I'll be honest, I don't see much of a problem like at a glance with 1,500, so long as they're generic anchor, like 95% generic anchor. It's like, well, even if they're lower quality links, like, let's say we
yes,
just jammed out like as many directories and random, Fiverr kind of pillow links we could. If you've got some kind of, it's shaping up in the SERPs to some degree, then quite honestly, even with just like a handful of properly targeted high-end links, more authority links, you might be able to actually jump substantially. So, at this point, yeah, if you're talking about you need to get it down to a reasonable percentage, well, reasonable percentage, we're mainly talking about when you've overdone money anchors, right? Overdone money anchors is an issue. Overdone generic anchors is
It's an issue, but
not.
it's not as bad, not nearly as bad.
Yeah. At this point, I would say you're in the prodding phase.
I bet it's
So
Web 2.0s actually.
it could
I
be a
bet it's
lot of
I bet
Web
it's Web
2.0.
2.0s and blog comments.
But and if that's what it is, and you're using generic anchors, then whatever. I think you'll be fine. Just start prodding. You can either do, something like a barrage. You'll be able to break up more of your anchor text profile, and maybe I would say since you've got 95% generic, go a little bit heavier with money anchors, or
Branded
you could go after
URL.
more targeted inner pages that are maybe on like page 2 with one or two really like strong links, natural stuff, but see what that does. If you automatically bump up to page 1 within like a month, then I would say your recourse of action at this point is to just get a little bit more aggressive with what you're doing, but don't ever stop diversifying and creating natural link profiles to the homepage, or creating more generic anchors either. I wouldn't just automatically go to 100% money anchors for the next 6 months, right? Keep it natural over time. But
I'm not sure if you covered this part either, but if it's 1,500 links and they're just low quality links like a bunch of Web 2.0s or a bunch of blog comments or whatever, I wouldn't even really think about, if there are a bunch of just links like that, I wouldn't even think about it as 1,500 links.
Yeah.
You can think about it as that being an actual much lower number,
pillow,
right?
yeah.
Google, it's more like pillow links, and Google doesn't really, having 1,500 of these low quality links like that versus having 1,500 guest posts or editorial links or niche edits or, contextual links from real websites. Google does not weight these in the same way. So, you could just think about that as a much smaller number. And like Nick said, you could just start building, you might want to build a barrage to kind of like get things kicked off with a, kind of good amount of, and, different anchors or whatever. But then you could just kind of go back into your kind of like mid authority to high authority links and just kind of move forward in that way and see how things respond. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Niv.
This is a good question. Yeah, Niv likes the tactics, like he likes the tactics, the ones that I liked when I first was messing.
Can I rank us? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like oh yeah, anyway. So can I rank a site with PBNs replacing guest posts and niche edits? Wait, sorry. Can I rank a site with PBNs replacing guest posts and niche edits? I would still have citations and pillows, but PBNs instead of guest posts, which I can use on. Oh God, you got him saying assets. He said.
Yeah, but multiple. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. We're gonna reshape SEO. Okay,
don't
it's
say
gonna
assets.
become more high end friendly if we use assets versus money sites.
That's just a word Nick uses to make himself look fancy.
I have backlink vehicles that I use to lift my assets up in the SERPs. Dude, somebody give me some venture capital right now.
But yeah, I would not recommend doing what you're saying. No. Actually, most people move the opposite direction. They'll want to replace their PBNs. So they'll be working on a site for a while, and maybe they're getting to the point where they want to sell the site or something, and then they'll start thinking about, basically people don't want a site that's propped up with a bunch of PBNs, so they'll want to slowly switch out their PBN links for more natural links, stuff like that. People don't normally go in the other direction.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I would say like neither is a good option. Like, what we preach here is diversifying your link profile. If you're really building out a site and you're doing it right over time, then you're going to be mixing all these links over time, and that's going to be, what creates the backlink profile. Just because you're replacing an anchor using a different kind of link doesn't mean it's going to register the same way to Google, right? Those websites that you're using to get backlinks from are diversified in the amount of power or relevance, etc., that they're going to send. So to try and imagine it as a replacement is really just, it's erroneous, because there is no replacing it, right? You're shifting away from something. But like Chris said,
Or maybe he's not
this
talking
would
about actually
be,
replacing them. Maybe he's just saying replace them in the strategy, like only PBNs instead of niche
well, I
edits and
wouldn't,
guest posts,
yeah, I wouldn't do
which
that
is also a
either.
no.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
That's a bigger no.
Like, honestly,
Actually, they're both big
I
no.
got my start in PBNs with SEO. That was like the first thing that I started working with, like I got really interested in, etc. I barely use them anymore. Like, I use them as a fine-tuning tool, but the actuality of it is PBNs are expensive because they're expensive to build, they're expensive to hold, and then when they get popped, they're just gone. So they're expensive. Um, and quite honestly, I've found that like diversity is more important than just trying to muscle through majority of these SERPs. So I would recommend that, if your idea right now is to focus heavily on PBN usage, probably shy away from that. And then when I see this, which is PBNs,
Except if you're in like a very PBN heavy niche.
yeah,
If you're in a niche where people are like just it's like the Wild West with PBNs, then
but you still risk getting your PBN popped over time, like, or
yeah.
having to spend an insane amount of money on rentals for it. It's dicey. One thing that I'm seeing here that's a huge red flag is because then with PBNs instead of guest posts, I'd be able to use them on multiple assets. But if you own your own PBN and you are trying to manipulate for money sites with that PBN, you're going to create overlap issues in no time. And that's one of the reasons that I would stress when newbies are getting involved in PBN and they say they want to build, 5 to 10 to prop up, a handful of domains that they've got. I've never heard of somebody doing really well with that idea. Now, if you're building a 5 to 10 PBN specifically for one asset to link to one money site to, then that's a better opportunity. But again, you want to understand and know what you're doing with those so that you maximize the amount of money and profit you can pull by using them. Because otherwise, a PBN is essentially a cost, an incurred cost over months' time, and then if it gets popped, which you have to be very careful building your PBN, you essentially, that's a completely sunk cost, and then you might lose rankings as well over using it. So I would say for PBNs, be slow and steady with them. I would always stress using niche edits and guest posts over PBNs.
Yeah, your PBN should make up a very small portion of your link profile.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to summarize and kind of give you a short answer real quick, I would not, if you have an existing site with niche edits and guest posts, I would not replace those links with PBNs. And if you're just talking about your strategy in general, I would also not build a link profile that's using PBNs instead of guest posts and niche edits. I think both are very dangerous ideas unless you're super advanced and you understand the risks of what you're doing, and that's kind of built into your whole strategy. All right, we got Jimmy. Jimmy, we saw your comment earlier. Thanks for the kind words, man.
Yeah, that was really sweet. I appreciate that.
Let's go ahead and pull up Jimmy's comment because it was so sweet. Where is it?
And guys and girls of the SEO Roundtable, we love getting fluff comments. So
Yeah.
please, send it over. It gives us a little
So first,
validation over here for what we're doing.
So first, Jimmy says, absolutely love your content. You two are going to blow up in the future of
Hope so.
SEO space, as in YouTube content, that is. All the way from London. Keep it up.
Back at you from Texas.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, thanks, man. We always like seeing happy, good comments like that. It doesn't really get old. And then to get to your question, Jimmy says... I hear that Google has changed or is changing the way it perceives backlinks and all sorts of things like that. I haven't looked too much into what's been said, just seeing it if you know anything. I think I know exactly what you're referring to, and you're referring to an article that people really started passing around a bunch from, I think it was on SE Roundtable or Search Engine Journal or something. Anyway, it made one of like the big SEO publications, and it was a quote from John Moyler, who was saying, let me try to find it real quick. John Moyler, backlinks don't matter. It was like something, they basically made like a clickbait. Here, this is it. Yeah, I can just pull this up. So yeah, this is the article. I'm pretty sure what you're talking about. It kind of got passed around. So it's Google's John Moyler, total number of backlinks doesn't matter. And so people were kind of like shitting the bed, and you were seeing like posts all over the Facebook groups. They're like, Google says backlinks don't matter.
Oh my
God. And the white hat people were like,
yeah, I knew this was
shooting
gonna happen.
off fireworks.
You're all gonna take a dive now. It's
the white hat group's like, we knew it all along. And then basically you scroll down to the article and you actually look at the actual quotes. And here's the important quote. So first he says, I don't think, well, so before I even get into the quotes, I want you to just look at the picture of this guy. This is John Moyler. I'm sure he's a great guy.
Mueller.
Mueller, whatever. Mueller. I'm sure he's peachy and pleasant to be around, but don't trust a single thing this guy says. This is Google's front-facing person to the SEO community. Listening to this guy is like listening to Biden's press secretary or Trump's press secretary. They tell the public what they want the public to think, or and they do it. So
it's not in your favor.
John Moyler tells the SEO community what they want SEOs to think, not what actually works, what they want SEOs to think. So you often see a lot of misinformation come out of them, or just stuff that is completely opposite to what the consensus from the actual community for people who actually rank sites, and not
people actually experimenting on things, right?
Yeah. So anyway, so you scroll down here, and his first quote was, I don't think we differentiate like that in our systems. From my point of view, I would tend not to focus on the total number of links to your site or the total number of domain links to your website, because we look at links in a very different way. So basically people have short-term memory and they don't like to read the full article, and they read this and they go, oh my God. And yeah, this is when the white hats started celebrating. But then you scroll down to the second paragraph, or the second part of the quote right here, and he says, we try to understand what is relevant for a website. Okay, this is key. So what he's saying right here is the total number of links, or the total number of referring domains, which is actually the much more useful number, does not matter if the links are not relevant, right? So if you have a backlink profile and you found an expired domain with 1 million backlinks, and they're just a bunch of foreign spam crap that have nothing to do with the coffee website that you're trying to rank or whatever, it's just those links aren't going to matter because they have nothing to do with what your content is about, right? It just doesn't make sense. Like you can have some of these links, you can have non-relevant links and they can be helpful to you, but if like your entire backlink profile is made up of crap like that, then it's not too good.
Well, it just depends on how it's weighed. So how they weigh the individual links, right?
So we try to understand what is relevant for a website, how much we should weigh these individual links, and the total number of links doesn't matter at all, because you could go off and create millions of links across millions of websites if you wanted to, and we could just ignore them all. So yeah, if you go and create millions of links from millions of websites, and they're just a bunch of crappy low-end sites, it's a bunch of blog comments, it's a bunch of web 2.0s, it's a bunch of auto-generated non-relevant crap, or they're just not relevant at all, then these links aren't going to matter. So, it made headlines, but to anyone who does SEO seriously as a job and makes money from it, this is not news. This is John Whaler saying that links should be relevant and they should come from a quality site.
This is maybe like news 10 years ago. It's like when everybody was just blasting sites with random links and they could rank for anything using whatever garbage links they could get their hands on over optimized anchors, etc. Right? Google's taken on an evolution as to what their algorithm reads, how it weighs things out, etc., and it's gotten more sophisticated over time. And that's why if you want to be an SEO, especially somebody that uses backlink manipulation, then it's your job to stay on top of prodding these things too, because John Mueller's not going to get up there and say, hey, guess what's working now that this update happened. No, he's getting up there saying, ooh, you better not, because I don't know. Oh, it's all bullshit, right? Like, get in there, experiment, prod, and work with a community of people that are doing the same thing, right? And you're going to have, a better ability to evolve alongside Google's algorithm versus, in fear of it.
Yeah, so maybe a bit of a rant on our end, but I'm actually really glad you asked the question.
That's a good question.
Because whenever I see people talk about this kind of stuff in groups, I normally just hold my tongue.
Yeah.
If it's in our group, I'll shut it down.
Yeah.
And I'll just I'll write like paragraphs of stuff. But if it's in like the other Facebook groups, I kind of like hold my tongue. And there's just not much you can do against like a mob of people who believe in this kind of stuff.
Right.
They're just gonna tell you you're an idiot, and there's just nothing. There's no way you can win in a positive way. You can't be positive, and they're not going to listen to you.
Their excuse is always like, well, it might work for right now, but you're gonna be in trouble soon. Well, I've been in this longer than you, and I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But nobody cares.
If you follow the ways that we teach you to build links, industry best practices, diversified backlink profiles, getting links from relevant sites, getting links on quality sites, you're building backlink profiles that will stand the test of time. We're building backlink profiles that work today and that will, we're doing the best we can to also future-proof them for the direction we think the algorithm is evolving to, which is really looking for things to be natural, right? Yeah. And so if you're always keeping in your mind, what do natural websites look like? What do natural websites backlink profiles look like? What do natural websites anchor profiles look like? And you're building links like that, you're going to do just fine. Yeah. And yeah, you don't need to worry about John Whaler, a single word he says, or any clickbait article on Search Engine Journal or SE Roundtable or whatever. These things went super viral.
Can't wait for him to call you and be like, Chris?
People were like dropping this in groups for like months. I haven't seen it in a while though.
Yeah, it's like Chris said, it's the same as fear-mongering and anything else, which is funny because I was on a tirade about fear-mongering yesterday. I dealt with this guy, this accounting auditor who just, this fear-mongering is big business.
Yeah, that's fear-mongering. That's like, the content that gets shared on social media is
it's fear-based usually, right? That's what gets shared.
It's generally something that just has a headline that is very
salacious.
It flies in the contrary of, it's just very, it could be like negative or something anyway. And that's what ended up going like super viral because people are like, oh my God, this is massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess people don't like to read or think. This is top stuff. Thanks for clearing that up, lads. Been in e-commerce for a while, and as time has gone on, starting to blog about my journey, which brings me onto a new journey of learning SEO. Cool, man.
Glad you found us. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, welcome to the party. Get used to seeing lots of conflicting information. Actually, one of the reasons, so what we do with our YouTube channel and all the content that we put out and stuff, at the end of the day, we are doing content marketing. We're putting out content so people find our website and they see our services and stuff. But we're actually, the content that we're putting out, we're like spilling, you know, we're basically,
We could have made a course out of this, but
yeah, and instead of doing a
not going
course,
to.
you know, the course is not our product, you know, backlinks are our product. But what we're doing is we're putting out information that we think is very good information that will then get people to basically trust our services. So we put out trustworthy information. We're giving people like the real deal, and
Yeah.
as a way to like get them in and you know,
Yeah,
of course,
we
buy our
we
products.
use all this stuff, right? So it's like it'd be counterintuitive to be steering the ship, you know, in any kind of opposite direction. I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of SEOs that built their entire brand off fear-mongering, especially when they're talking about like backlink products. It's like, oh, you want to be careful using, you know, these other link providers and stuff. It's like, well, quite honestly, we've got a lot of competitors that make good products, and there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet that you can use alongside our products as well. You know, I think even if you really trust our brand, there's plenty of other marketplaces where you could also extend an ability to get links from, you know, just to diversify further, etc. But
Yeah,
one of the biggest, though.
there's just a ton of crap out there. And I think when we first started doing the content marketing, I know I was like very excited to just finally just put it out into the world, like what I thought about the other stuff people were saying, or what we see actually working, happening, and not just like
Yeah.
these, you know, the people in the groups. You just see a lot of the times the people that are the loudest end up being the people that have no idea what they're doing, and so
I
they
hear a lot of shit where
they
I'm
just
just
go
like,
in, they go in the Facebook groups and they comment all day instead of like making money.
yeah, going to work.
Like go do something.
I
Like,
guess their job, see, their job is more of like guru facing, right? It's not actually
well, not
wanting to
even
do the
gurus,
work.
just like
Yeah.
the masses of the people that are just always in the groups, and like
Yeah.
they start they start thinking if they're in the groups talking about like SEO and stuff, that kind of counts as work.
But they
It's
do
not
get
work.
they do get sheep followers. Yeah, it's
Unless
not
you're
work.
unless you're a guru and you're building up your thing or whatever. But anyway, another long rant about something from us.
We
Yeah,
got a lot of rants we can talk about over our years in SEO, I would say.
yeah. Welcome
There's
to
plenty to rant
SEO,
about.
and get used to seeing a bunch of crap that is not true.
Yeah,
And
like,
if
dude.
you ever want to like verify something, just ask it in our live stream,
Yeah.
or you can just post in our group, and we'll eventually answer you.
And we get questions wrong, and we sometimes don't know the answers, and we'll tell you. I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's not
we're not gonna
something-
make shit up to steer you in the wrong direction either.
If it's not something we know about, I'll just tell you we're not really the authority on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ever want to verify something, just drop it in the group, and we'll let you know what we
I
think
feel
about
like a
it.
big one I used to hear a lot, basically on every course, would be this one, you know, rehearsed. And my friends were all, "How are you gonna give that information away and still make money?" And it's like, you know, how do you teach somebody how to work on a motorcycle, but then they still take their motorcycle to the shop or whatever? It's like, not everybody has time to learn, you know, everything. We can give information away for free. And I hope to compete against some of you in the future. You know, I'm kind of excited about SEO becoming more competitive. Did you see Satish?
Yeah, but there was one other question. I can't find where it was now. Oh, here, this one.
Oh.
Finally, do you guys offer consultations?
Just
This
on
is-
here
This is yeah, right,
for right now.
Yeah, for right now, you can ask your questions in the group SEO Roundtable, not to be confused with SE Roundtable, but our Facebook group, Sir Links-a-Lot's SEO Roundtable. Or you can ask in our live streams, and we'll get to you. But yeah, it's not going to be like a super in-depth consultation. It's not really a consultation. It'd be more like an audit, right? Or like a real quick consultation. I will say that we're also working on adding these things. We're not sure
But
100% yet on it, or
I mean,
how
quite
it's gonna
honestly,
work,
like,
but
the only consulting that we're doing at the present moment really is more on like a business facing level where people have pretty in-depth stuff they have. Otherwise, we're just kind of answering here, like if it's a quick audit or consultation or something like that. We might add like an hourly, but it's probably going to be, more business kind of priced in the interest of, expanding our business in time.
But yeah, keep if you're interested in like in-depth audits or like actual like paid consultation, yeah, just keep an eye on stuff. We'll if you're in our Facebook group and if you're subscribed to our email list, these will be things that will be announced, but they're currently things that are on our to-do list. We're not sure how they're going to be implemented yet, or
We have a
exactly.
handful of products actually that should be coming out in the coming months, really.
Yeah. Oops. What's your thoughts about ranking big main pages for a lot of keywords or segment those keywords into subpages? This is something we've also answered, but you want to look at what's working. So you want to go to Google, type in the keywords and see if the same pages are ranking for each keyword, right? So for some keywords, Google likes little sniper pages that are just based around that keyword, and maybe they only rank for like 1 or 2 keywords, right? And then for some keywords, they prefer this huge pillar content that is like a mega, it's like thousands of words and it just covers all segments of a certain topic, right? And the best way to, or the easiest way, the freest way to do this is just to go look in Google, type in your keywords and see what Google wants, and then give Google what it wants. I wouldn't go against the grain. See what the top ranking pages are, and then give Google that. Another way you can look at it, what Nick I know wants to say.
I was just going to say
Surfer.
Yeah, well, we went over it in the keyword cannibalization. Yeah.
Yeah, so in Surfer SEO, or you can use Ahrefs as well.
You just pull it up, show them, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, in Ahrefs, you can look for, you go to the Keywords Explorer up top, and then you type in your keyword, and then go to also rank for, and you can play around with this tool. It'll show you basically, so here's like the parent topic. So like this page, guest posting service. So if you click on that, then it'll show you like, what pages are, or what, basically it'll show you the parent topic keyword and like other keywords that are ranking on the same pages. And then Surfer SEO, I'll go ahead and pull that one up too, has a similar feature. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Here's, so we had done this keyword for the last time someone asked this question. So the keyword we typed in, you go to keyword research. So this was toys for small dogs, and then similar keywords. And then you can see right here, SERP similarity, and it's basically the number of pages that are ranking for, so here's our main keyword, toys for small dogs. And then here you have dog toys for small dogs, little dog toys, toys for tiny dogs. I think they might have changed it. Anyway, SERP similarity is like how many of the pages that are ranking for the main keyword are also ranking for these other keywords. And so it shows you as a percentage. But yeah, that's just another way. Both of those, Ahrefs and Surfer, kind of do the same thing with those tools. They're just a little bit different. Ahrefs looks like it's got some more data and stuff, but it's a little bit more complex. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. If you don't have Ahrefs or Surfer, like I said, you could just literally go in Google and do it manually. Just open up 2 different tabs and for your keyword and then your other keyword that you have in question, and just see if any of the same pages are ranking. And oh yeah, look what kind of pages they are, if they're little sniper pages or big pillar content. The questions just keep rolling
Yeah, let's
in.
keep going. I feel good today. Unless you want to stop at some point. I'm waiting for the new accountant to hit me up, so that's really the only thing I'm...
We go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Do I need to update my PBN website in every 1 week with a post, or just link to my money site and leave it like that?
Ooh.
Hey Nick, PBN guy,
We're
what do you
talking
think?
about advanced PBN. Yeah, I like this question because PBN's the same as any kind of tool used for backlinking purposes has evolved over time as well. I would say compared to when I first started, modern PBNs are more like link farm style guest posts. They appear to be more realistic, etc. Now, that isn't to say that I don't build PBNs, like private PBNs, and then never add content to them. However, I would say that if you're in the habit of doing that, one post a week is it's a lot. It's not too much, but it's a lot, right? You know, you're spending money on something that's really just used for the purposes of moving power. But if you increase trust by adding new content, etc., to that site, you know, it's going to resonate with Google. You know, especially if your content is decent, right? If you're using spun content, I would say don't do that. Just leave the site as is. But yeah, do you need to every week? No. Do you need to ever? Not necessarily. There's all sorts of small websites that exist as like a business card in the middle of nowhere internet, right? But that's not to say that they couldn't, you know, appear more normal or trustworthy in Google's eyes if you were aggregating content to them. Kind of up to you, you know. I think, you know, from using a public PBN, you know, which we rent out and sell PBN links, part of the power of that network has to do with the constant movement of the network, right? It looks very natural. So I would say that's advantageous, but if I was conceptualizing that as a private PBN, it would be hard to decide whether that was worth the costs incurred of adding, you know, that many posts to a PBN. So
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question, right? Because like on the one hand, you know, we know that Google likes sites that
new
are
stuff.
updated.
Yeah.
They like sites that are being updated, they're being taken care of, you know, they're getting new pages added, you know, they're growing. You know, this is what a normal website, a real website, this is what happens on it, right? People take care of it, they update it, they add new pages, they add new content. So that, you know, I would say that if you can add content to a PBN, that's always good. But at the same time, like Nick was saying, you know, especially depending on the size of your PBN, the size of your network, like how many sites you have, this could be a pretty costly thing if it's a private PBN. You know, like our PBN that we sell links on, of course, it's always getting new content added to it because we're always getting new clients.
Right.
But yeah, if you have like your own like private PBN or whatever,
Yeah, just make sure
yeah, I mean,
your ROI is going to be there, depending on how much you're spending per article and how much time you're spending putting all that up.
yeah, maybe every now and then you just go and you add some cheap
Yeah, or even just,
writer content.
I think a lot of people also ignore the power of just changing the structure of a site or adding little snippets of content in random places. It's
updating it,
updating it, right? Like all of that is crawlable, and that information is categorized by Google to say, okay, look at this. This changed at this date, and so you know there's an active use to this site. All of that's cataloged, and so Adding content is one way, changing the design, changing the way things read, where links are, etc. is all different stuff that you can do as well.
Yeah, just to expand on that a little bit, like Nick was saying, adding new content, as in like adding actual new URLs, like new articles, that's great. But it's also great, like Nick said, to just edit your content, to change your content, to add 200 words to a page, add a little new little section or whatever. Google sees that as well. They have to update their index. They see that you added more relevant words to the page. Maybe you targeted another keyword for that page or something. These are really great things to do for your any site. It'd be good for a PBN, but I guess I'm kind of more talking about money sites at this point. But content's always good to add. But yeah, Nick, how many PBNs do you have that have just been private PBNs that have been just sitting there for months, years, whatever, with no update?
Probably at least 500. No, I mean
that are still linking out.
Yeah.
That have not had any content added to them. They're actually up and running.
Hold on, I have to think about this.
There's no way it's 500.
No, it's not 500. Private, untouched. Yeah, but see.
Because if it was public, if it was being it would be updated.
It is close to 500, and not updated.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what these sites are linking to.
Right. It's based on a network that I'm shutting down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been a lot of movement there for a long period of time, and so recently we were looking at how many PBNs really have just been existing for no purpose as sunk costs. Mm-hmm. See, and that's the type of shit you got to look out for too if you're really starting to dive into PBNs and building, is the management over time gets blown out. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting thing. I think a lot of people misunderstand PBNs and think it's like the cheapest, most economical, easy way to rankings, but it's really not how it should be seen. It's just a fine-tuning tool that's actually rather expensive when it comes to it.
All right, guys, we got a couple questions left. We're running out, though. We've already stayed past time, but since we're already staying late, if you got more questions, drop them in the chat.
Drop them in.
Or else we'll answer the couple that are left, and we will be getting out of here.
We're the people to ask. The guy that asked this is like crypto super genius, and even though he says he's not holding anymore, I'm willing to bet that he's the type of guy that would like have $1 billion and then not tell you and go buy an NFT or something and not tell anybody. That's my guess. So he should know. Having said that, I'd like to think yes, even though I don't have a major Bitcoin hold. Currently, I'm really YOLOing shitcoin, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask about anything.
Yes, Nick is a YOLO.
I'm a YOLOing fool. Okay.
Nick is like,
I've got a steady job, so it's like, why am I going to be steady with my future income? Let's YOLO and try and make some of that Zoomer money. I've been hearing a lot about these Zoomers on TikTok, and I'm gonna get in on that action.
I'm actually more skeptical about the crypto space than Nick is.
It's not that I'm not necessarily skeptical, at least about a correction. I think over time, if you're doing it like a long shot thing, then start. You can invest now, but
I just think it's. Of course, anything with hype behind it can do very well. I just think it's gone too far at this point. But I think Bitcoin will hit 100K. I think
this year.
I think there's just too much other crap right now. There's too much. There's too much new stuff. There's too many things.
But it never stops. Once adoption is actually there, then it just blows out even further.
Well, the other way of thinking is that
we need to get off of this.
The other way of thinking is that
also we're not
basically there's only going to be a couple survivors. And that everything else will just become completely obsolete.
Yeah,
And it'll be
I
seen
might have
as like
agreed
this
with.
gold age where there's a bunch of ghost towns everywhere that just faded once the little bit of loot got mined out. This is the boom. We're
On
in the boom.
some
We're in the
stuff,
boom
maybe.
time right now.
We'll see. I don't
Anyway,
think so. The more I'm learning about them,
yeah, don't trust us.
we don't know shit. Honestly, we know SEO pretty well.
You
But
could go invest in like a bunch of shit coins and be a billionaire by tomorrow, and then you'll be like, Chris, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And I'll be jealous.
Me too.
I'll be jealous, but
Yeah.
I'll be happy for you too.
All right, let's move to SEO.
All right. I think we might be out.
Out. You don't have to put it in. It's funny how many SEOs are into crypto. Last push, I remember everybody thought they were leaving their jobs in SEO to become crypto billionaires. I think most of them went back to SEO or regular job.
So, this was Jimmy again. Jimmy says, 100% agree. Hate all these big YouTubers recycling dog shit content. On a better note, looked at your prices for your links and you'll be hearing from me soon.
Nice.
Take care. See you on the next one. Yep, Jimmy, make sure you're subscribed and get in our Facebook group if you're not already. And yeah, glad you made it out. And
yeah, thanks for the kind words too.
yeah.
I think that's probably it, huh?
Let me check one more time.
Looks like Jimmy might be holding some too.
Satish says Doge for life.
I know he didn't play Dogecoin.
He
didn't. He's a sophisticated guy. That guy. He's not gonna be doing stuff like that. He's a sophisticated guy.
Maybe he FOMO'd back in.
If he did, it's not for.
Did you FOMO on the Doge, Satish?
Oh no, he didn't. Guy's a crypto billionaire. If anybody wants to ask advice about crypto, then just hit that guy up who's talking about it. He'll answer your questions.
All right. I think that's it for the guys. That's it for today. Jimmy says shit coins. Jimmy is judging you.
Yeah, he should. He should. I'm not advocating anybody else do this. This is a side part-time hobby of mine to, turn money into nothing.
All right, yeah, thanks guys for coming out. A lot of questions today. Good to see a bunch of people. A bunch of people interested in the live stream. If you're not already, join the Facebook group. Subscribe on YouTube. Like, comment, notification bell.
I'm already lost.
Tell your mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's about it. I think we should probably also maybe start thinking about like adding in a little segment to the beginning of the chopped up YouTube videos, just like a quick 5 seconds. That's like, hey, like this video.
Yeah, or in between stages. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we could definitely. We got a lot of stuff to work on over here, guys. If one of you is holding venture capital money and just wants to toss it over, we could easily automate some systems.
Yeah. Got too much work, not enough time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for coming out, and we will see you next week, same time, same place.
See you next week.
Cheers.